Happy New Year and good morning. The January 8th, 2019 meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order, and we are pleased to have with us this morning Mr. Russell Tassone from Code Enforcement with us to lead us in our invocation. And after the invocation, please remain standing for the pledge to the flag.
Good morning. My thanks to the board for allowing the invocation to happen this morning by me. I appreciate it. And we're going to be reading the first 4 verses of the 46th chapter of the book of Psalms. God is our refuge and strength, a helper who is always found in times of trouble. Therefore we will not be afraid, though the earth trembles and the mountains topple into the depths of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with its turmoil. Selah. There is a river. Its streams delight the city of God, the holy dwelling place of the Most High. Let's pray. Lord, as beautiful as all 4 of these verses are, the word that stands out most here is always. Not sometimes, usually, occasionally, every so often, or when there's time, but always. You are always our refuge, strength, and calm, and I ask that we always keep our hearts and eyes on your dwelling place, the dwelling place of the Most High, in good times and bad, in times of peace or opposition. Let us always lean on and look to you in all things. And Lord, as this board of elected officials moves this county forward in this coming year, I just ask that you always give them the guidance and the knowledge and the wisdom that they seek through you. And as always, I thank you for the giving of your Son to this world and for his sacrifice for all of us. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Tassone, thank you so much for being here this morning and leading us in our invocation. And good morning again to the citizens of Douglas County. The Board of Commissioners value your voice and we appreciate your participation in county government. Clerk, I believe you said we have one individual that has signed up for, or should I say one citizen today who has signed up for public to speak. And before I ask this individual to come forth, which is Dr. Everton Ennis, I would like to say public comment allows the Board of Commissioners the opportunity to listen to the public. Thank you, Clerk, again for advising me that we have someone who signed up, and the Board of Commissioners respect our citizens' rights to address their government. Please keep in mind your subject matter must be germane to the agenda. In addition, you will be allotted 3 minutes to speak, and when you hear the buzzer, that is an indication that your time has expired. Dr. Ennis, please come forth, and your subject matter this morning, I believe, is congratulations and...
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll allow you to just congratulate whoever you are planning to do so.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
And ladies and gentlemen in the audience. First, Happy New Year.
Okay. Happy New Year to you as well.
Yes, indeed. And congratulations to Commissioner Henry Mitchell for your re-election, and to my Commissioner for District 3, Ms. Tarina Carthen, on your election to this august body. Thank you all so very much for your service. And I'd just like to convey on behalf of New Jerusalem, Seventh Adventist Praise and Worship Center, by way of reiterating communication that you've received in writing already, that we felt it a necessary thing to show our support for our local government leaders, county and city, public officials, judges, law enforcement personnel and officers, by way of an annual consecration service that we are prepared to fully fund and to promote each year in the first week of January. And we look forward to seeing those who are able to come this evening at 6:30. Madam Chairman, I yield the rest of the time. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ennis, and we appreciate your announcement this morning. All right, Board of Commissioners, next we have the approval of the minutes. Board of Commissioners, you have the commission meeting minutes of December 18th, 2018, work session minutes of December 17, 2018, and the executive session minutes of December 17, 2018. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions that need to be made?
No, ma'am.
Being none, the minutes stand approved as presented. Next, we have a public hearing, and I would like our manager, Ron Roberts, to please come forth and just enlighten the Board of Commissioners about this public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year as well. So what we have today is the proposed alcohol requirement modifications to Section 3-27 in our Code of Ordinances. This is a removal for the RAS certification, which is the Responsible Alcohol Sales and Service, and replacing it with a questionnaire that our department would be providing to the applicants. This does not affect the licensees. They will still have to have their RAS training every 2 years. What it does affect is there's about 12 restaurants and bars in the county that send servers for this certification. It's $30 that they have to pay every year for this certification to go through the process. The county doesn't get any of that fund. In fact, they actually use our facility downstairs as well for their training. On average, there's about 30 to 60 servers that go through the training every year. And so removing that requirement for the servers, keeping it for the licensees, and it also aligns with what the city of Douglasville does as well. So that's what is being proposed today, and that's what the public hearing is about.
Thank you so much, Manager Roberts. Well, now what I'll do, I would like to open this public hearing. This public hearing is open to the public. Is there anyone who would like to speak for this RAS training change or in the regulation? Is anyone here to speak for? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this change of regulation? Okay, please come forward. Please state your name for the record and your address, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and good morning to all. John Tomaski, 6000 Stewart Parkway. My comment is not against the measure. However, persons from particular parts of the Caribbean would find the term RAS training to be rather hysterical, and I'll leave it right there. It also reminds me of certain marketing errors. For example, again, where cultures collide, where an American company, well, the Canadian subsidiary of an American company, marketed in French Canada a toothpaste which was named Q. And a food production company that was headquartered in Toronto in French Canada attempted to, well, actually did market a brand of canned beans which was named Grosjean. And unfortunately, RAS continues in that tradition of cultural collisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Tomaski. We have anyone else that would like to speak against this ordinance, the RAS ordinance? With that being said, this public hearing is now closed. Board of Commissioners, you have heard this public hearing. Are there any comments before I call for a motion from the Board of Commissioners? Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. Board of Commissioners, you have heard the public hearing, Douglas County Code of Ordinance, Section 327, for the standard license in regard to RAS training, to remove this requirement. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the Board of Commissioners? Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote. The motion carries, and we'll move forward, and congratulations. We'll move forward. Next, we have a business item, which is tab number 5. Tab number 5 is authorization to approve an agreement with the collaborative firm for 2019 marketing, promotional, and outreach services for Connect Douglas, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Director Watson, please come forth and expound upon this request.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This comes as a recommendation from the Transportation Committee. And the recommendation is that the board authorize a 2019 contract with the collaborative firm in the amount of $150,000, with this money to be taken out of the Comprehensive Transportation Fund. This would require a budget amendment. Now, the collaborative firm has submitted to us a comprehensive contract that would cover the entire year. It would cover from now up to our bus service launch, the actual launch itself, the evaluation of the launch in the couple of months after that, and then the correction period when we review what we've done and see what steps we need to take to make the bus service even better. The collaborative firm's work will be very, very heavy on public outreach, community outreach, letting people know about the bus service and exactly how it's running, when it's running, where it's running. But they will also be heavily involved in assisting us with developing route maps that will be very easy for the public to read, brochures that we can disseminate in various locations, and then actually going out to numerous public locations and having pop-up kiosks to provide information about the bus service.
Okay. Any questions from the Board of Commissioners or comments? Commissioner Guider, I'm so sorry.
You
Brain
forgot my
froze for a
name over
minute.
the holidays. Gary, last year we had 2 contracts with the collaborative firm, both of which were $50,000 each, okay? That falls within the no bid category here with our ordinance and everything. What was the first $50,000 for contract?
It was basically to provide public information not only about the bus service, but the services that we already were operating. There was actually a heavy emphasis on the services that we did have, such as the van pool and the voucher program.
And what was the second $50,000 contract for?
It was a heavy emphasis on the bus service and the proposed routes.
But neither one of those were bid. That's my concern. I think perception can be as bad as an act sometimes. This is a $150,000 contract that has not been bid out. Can you tell me why?
Well, let me explain a little bit of the background on that. Last year, when we actually started looking for a consulting firm to help us with this, we did actually go out for bid. It was a request for credentials. And so we had about 5 firms to submit proposals to us. We actually interviewed 3 of them, and the collaborative firm's presentation was by far the best. So that's
Credentials?
qualifications,
And
their ability to do the work
they're
that we
a
were
public
requesting.
relations firm, okay.
Right, yes, ma'am. So we actually did solicit proposals at the very beginning, and the second contract we had with them, and then this one now, we feel like is just a continuation of the work that they started for us. And if we went out to bid now, that process would likely take 2 months and put us way behind the 8 ball in trying to get the information out about the bus service.
But the $150,000 does fall above the cap requiring bidding with our ordinance. And I know their foot is already in the door, and it was broken up last year, 50 and 50, which had they been together, they should have been bid out. I just have a problem with the process on this. We've got a new committee that's going to be overseeing fair bid process and everything, but it was not in place last year in 2018. I just have a problem that this is not being bid out, and it almost seems like we're circumventing the bid process, and I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Any other comments from the Board of Commissioners before I call for a motion? Thank you, Director Watson. Board of Commissioners, you have heard the author, Gary Watson, should I say Director Watson, discuss and bring before us an authorization to approve an agreement with the collaborative firm for the 2019 Marketing, Promotion, and Outreach Services. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Okay, the votes have been rendered. We have a 4-1, and the motion carries. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, please note that all items under the consent agenda are subject to final legal review. And I'll start with tab number 6. Tab number 6 is authorization to approve the memorandum of participation for other post-employment benefits valuation in Kavanaugh McDonald Consulting LLC, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 7, authorization to approve the 2019 West Georgia Regional Library Services contract, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 8, authorization to accept a check from the Sheriff's Office Special Projects account in the amount of $899.95 for the purchase of a K-9 shelter for an outdoor dog kennel. Tab number 9, authorization to enter into an agreement with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources accepting the terms and conditions of the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant approved for Clinton Nature Preserve in the amount of $75,000, and amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 10, authorization to approve an agreement with Trane for quarterly maintenance and repair of the Liebert HVAC system in the IS computer room for an annual cost of $1,442.22, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 11, authorization to renew the contract with the Plant Peddler for the monthly maintenance and care for plants throughout the courthouse for an annual cost of $1,500, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 12, authorization to approve a task order for Moreland Attabelli in the amount of $101,045 to provide Douglas County with an evaluation of pavement on the county's road system, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 13, authorization to approve an amendment to the state fiscal year 2019 aging services contract with the Atlanta Region Commission, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 14, authorization to accept anonymous donation of $4,500 to the fire department and amend the budget. Tab number 15, authorization to renew an agreement with Dr. Raymond L. Fowler, MD, FACEP, to serve as a medical director for the Douglas County Fire EMS Department, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. And finally, tab number 16, authorization to establish one-way passenger fares for Connect Douglas fixed route service. That concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Jan?
Second.
Okay. Well, first of all, are there any item on this agenda up for discussion? Board of Commissioners, do you see anything that you would like to discuss before I move forward with the motion? Any particular item? If I could have Director Watson come forward, please, and just elaborate on tab number 16, which is related to the fares, authorization to establish one-way passenger fares for Connect Douglas fixed route services. Could you please
Sure.
provide
Yes,
information
ma'am.
for our citizens of Douglas County
This
regarding these
again,
fares?
this again comes as a recommendation from the Transportation Committee. And our recommendation is that we set our standard base fare for a one-way trip at $2.50. The fare for seniors, disabled, and students will be set at $1. This recommendation comes after we reviewed the fares of transit agencies, not only in the Atlanta area, but throughout the Southeast. And in particular, we picked systems that we felt like would be similar in size and service to us. We also asked for feedback during our December community meetings, where we were talking about the bus service and the routes. The question that we asked at that time was, do you think $2.50 is a reasonable fare? Most everyone said yes. We got very little pushback on that. And because of that research, this is a recommendation that we come with today.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Watson?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Guider?
Yes, Gary, how do you determine, what is a senior? Gray hair?
In our programs that we have already, the VAMPU program and the voucher program, 60 and up is considered a senior.
60?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how do you determine if someone is a student?
What we would ask for them is to show us a current valid student ID.
So if they get on the bus, they have to have their student ID in order to get the cut rate?
Well, we want them to show us their ID, but if they get on and they say, I'm a student, we're not going to require our driver to get into any big, long conversation.
Now, this route, these bus routes, they're not to take the place of the school bus routes?
No, absolutely not.
So these are for students maybe going to the mall or something?
Or West Georgia Technical College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wondered what the determining factor was for a senior and a student. So.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll have a process in place, a certification process that they can come visit us at the Transportation Center. And if they show us some documentation, like a birth certificate, a student ID, or a doctor's statement saying that they have a disability, we will provide them with a discount card that they can use when they get on the bus to show the driver that they are.
Is that the same for the students too? They can get
Right.
some kind of a discount
Yes, ma'am.
card?
Yes.
And seniors too, I
Correct.
assume?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And you're back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Commissioners, we have a motion and a second.
Madam Chair.
Oh,
Can
I'm
I-
sorry,
yes.
look to the right.
Just one quick
Commissioner
question.
Mitchell?
Will there be any type of transfer, let's say from Route 1 to Route 2 to Route 3 and so on? Would that automatic be a transfer, or is it another 250, am I correct?
No, sir, within our system.
Right, within our system.
It will be a free transfer.
Okay, so it is a free
Yes,
transfer?
sir.
Okay,
And
got it.
again, the driver would provide a transfer card to the passenger
Got
that
it.
they could show.
As needed, as you get, so
Right.
if you need a transfer, then you need to get on and say, hey, I need a transfer card to kind of
Yes,
go
sir.
to the next route and so on and
Correct.
so forth.
Yes,
If
sir.
not, then you get on and get off, then you pay the next 250 or whatever the case may be.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm looking at your grid on one of the documents, and it may be a typo, but it says $2 EST. Is that just an estimate? Is that what you're saying? Oh, oh,
That
okay.
chart was made when we had not established our fare, so the $2, the EST means estimated.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So this will be corrected? Because I
Right.
was just looking at that, I'm saying, okay, either there's a wrong number or we kind of, because I thought it might have been 2 and 1, but somehow you keep saying 250, but it
Yes, sir.
wasn't.
There was actually some conversation within the Transportation Committee about establishing $2
Right.
as the standard one-way fare. But most of the other systems in the Atlanta region charge $250, so we wanted to be in line with that, and especially if we were going to give a heavy discount to seniors, disabled, and students, we felt like $250 was appropriate.
Okay, I'm with you. And last but not least, and we've had this conversation, I think, once or twice before. What happens if we're transferring from our system to the Cobb system on Thornton Road? Have we got that agreement, that MOU done, or are we still working through that?
We're still working through that. Ideally, if they transfer from our system to Cobb, that will be a free transfer.
Correct.
And then if they're transferring from Cobb to our system, that would be a free transfer.
Got it.
As well.
So have we did the MOU, or are we working on the MOU? Is that it?
Yes, sir, we're working on it.
So Cobb, so it's not done then. So we can't do, if we start tomorrow, we couldn't actually transfer to Cobb system? No.
No, could not transfer free, yes, sir.
Got it. Okay. So how long do you think how far off are we on that?
Cobb is actually in the process of reviewing and revising some of their routes. Our conversation about transfers is involved with the conversation about where that transfer is actually going to take place from our system to their system. So I would anticipate another month on that before we would have something in place
Okay. So
officially.
it will be somewhere close to a roundabout Thornton Road or somewhere there, give or take a roundabout, I guess.
We're right now, we're looking at the Epicenter Church,
Okay.
somewhere around it.
Okay. Okay, so here nor there, but it'll be close enough to the one route that takes.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because I don't think anybody want to try to do a transfer and have to walk a mile or take another car to get to the.
No.
Okay, so long as we're going to have that transferring center wherever it is, or however it works to where it's one bus to the next bus.
Yeah, you can step off of one bus onto the other.
Okay, I yield back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. I would like our transportation coordinator, if you would bring him up with
Sure.
you, Director Watson, if he could just share his background with the citizens of Douglas County and just, I would like to.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We're glad to have Jamal Shepard with us. He is our new Transportation Services Coordinator, and his main responsibility to oversee the bus service for us. He's been with us since January the 2nd. We already have him at work on several very important, crucial projects, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit of his background.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Commissioners, good morning. Again, I come to you guys from Georgia Department of Transportation, where there I was a regional transportation specialist working in the Northeast Georgia corridor. And prior to then, I was with MARTA for 15 years, also working in bus and rail transportation as a supervisor and also dispatcher managing the transportation systems. So as Mr. Gary stated, I'll be working right now trying to get out our paratransit plan and also our SOPs. And so I look forward to getting those up and running and assisting with getting the transit system running probably about April, March area, and also to get some of these other procedures wrapped up so we can be in compliance.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate you. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes regarding this consent agenda. We have a unanimous 5-0 vote. The motion carries, and we'll move on to the next item, which be our announcements. Director Martin, would you please come and just render this one and then work in tandem with our Vice Chairman Kelly Robinson to make this announcement. We only have one today.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners and staff.
Good morning.
As Madam Chair mentioned, we have one announcement. Vice Chair and District 2 Commissioner Kelly Robinson's hosting a How to Do Business in Douglas County Forum on Thursday, January 24th, 2019 at 6 o'clock. This is happening at the Douglasville Conference Center. Ashley Bell, Esquire, Regional Administrator for the U.S. Small Business Administration, will be the guest speaker, along with others as well, including Purchasing Director Bill Peacock and others. For more information, anyone is invited to contact Tiffany Stewart Stanley at her email address. The event will be on Douglas County Happenings, e-newsletter sent out this week, as well as on the website. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chairman Robinson, would you like to expound a little more on this event? Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Director
ma'am.
Martin.
May I?
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be very, very brief. This doing business in Douglas is basically round 2. Last year, we did one that says how to do business with Douglas. This is about how to do business inside of Douglas. And we're trying to create an atmosphere in which we can attract financing, make citizens aware of different financing options for them, whether they're grants, whether they're equity, whether it's loans, or whatever it may be. And so we're just trying to move the county forward. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis, as I say, about economic development, the big guys. But this is one time where we're going to focus on the small guys and giving them access and giving them a heads up. So we're still working through the details of this, but I look forward to January 24th, Madam Chair. I yield.
Okay. Are there any other announcements from any other board members today? Okay, Board of Commissioners, if there are no further comments or announcements, this meeting stands adjourned.